In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to graph your data. So once you have all your data entered, you should really look it over for errors and just make sure it's complete. It's easy to fix that after you've made your chart, but now's a good time to do that before moving on to the next step. The first step to creating a chart or making a graph or a chart of your data is to highlight the data that you want to make the graph from. And in this case, it's going to be everything from food and calories down. You do want to include those headings. If you went the route of making a spreadsheet of burgers or fries, the amount of a certain nutrition information in them at different restaurants, then instead of this saying food, it might say restaurants. And then this might be McDonald's cheeseburger, Wendy's cheeseburger, etc. I chose to go with calories. If this might say grams of fat or sodium or the amount of grams of carbohydrates or sugar or protein. So just be sure you include these headings. In my case, it's food and calories. So I'll just click down there to start over. With your touchpad, you'll click in cell A2 and then drag until you have all your data selected. The next step then is to go to the Insert menu and choose Chart. And most of the time it's going to give you what Google calls a column chart. I would call this a bar graph, but that's what it is, a column chart. And most of the time it gives you a title. However, sometimes it does not. So if your chart came in without a title and it looked like this, then what you could do is if you don't see the chart options, you can double click on your chart. With the chart editor open, you would need to go to Customize, go to Chart and Axis Titles, and then down here in this box that says Chart Title, you would give it a title. And if you don't want to have to retype it, you could just go copy what you already have in cell A1. So you keep clicking until that's selected. Press Control-C on your keyboard. To get the chart editor open, you can double click on your chart and then go to Chart Axis and Titles, and Control-V will paste it in that box. And then once you have a title there, it's really easy to change. You just double click on it, and then you have to click one more time, or a triple click will get you inside this text box so that you can edit it. If you did by chance get a pie chart instead of a bar graph, under Setup, you can easily change the chart type. If you opted to make a spreadsheet that includes only the foods that someone would eat in a particular meal, so for example, a soda, fries, burger, or maybe a dessert of some type, then a pie graph or a pie chart would be appropriate because each one of your items is part of a whole. And it would show the percentage and the portion of the amount of nutrition data for that meal. In my case, I'm just comparing the amount of calories in various foods at Chick-fil-A, so I really, for the chart type, I should have a column chart or a bar chart. This chart can be further customized, so if you would go to Customize over here, under Chart Style, you can change the background color. Just be very careful of this, that you don't use really obnoxious colors like blue on red or something like that. You could do themed colors, like Chick-fil-A is red and white, so if you really wanted to, you could go to, so if you click on the bars here, it'll show you now under series. I could make that white. I guess right here is where the fill color is. I could make that white because that's sort of like Chick-fil-A's theme. The black's not terribly difficult to read, but it's not easier to read. So a better way to do this might be to just keep clicking on the chart. Might be to go to let's go to chart style. Let's make the background white and instead make the bars red instead of doing it the other way around. This would probably be a lot better. At some point I managed to change my title, so I will just repaste that in there. If you were wanting to do a McDonald's theme, you could do a red and yellow. So we could make the background maybe yellow under chart style, something like that. It looks like McDonald's. If you really wanted to, you could make each individual food item a different color. You just double click on that particular bar, and then you can change the fill color of that bar. So you could make each food item a different color. None of this additional formatting is required and is completely optional. If you don't like this particular font, you could change the fonts. That's under by the axis. So down here, the food names, that's under horizontal axis. The default font generally works pretty well because if you start changing it to something else, it might start to get hard to read, but you may have space to do it. You could also change the default text color if you would like. And you're free to explore or play around with different options here on the chart. Just to review at this point, I'm going to go ahead and delete this chart and just real quickly put it back in and cover the basics one last time. So I'm going to click these three little dots, choose delete chart. There we go. Very first step in graphing data is to select your data. So you would click and drag until it's all highlighted. Go to the insert menu, choose chart. If it gives you a title, you could just double click on the text and you can type in a title, or if you already have a title in cell A1, you could copy it from there and paste it. And if you need to change the type of the chart, that's going to be under setup, under chart type. And that is how you graph your data in Google Sheets.